In this week's bulletin, concern for kidnapped Christians in Libya. Tough tobacco labelling laws in Solomon Islands. And New York Adventists bring police and the community together.
This is InFocus Christian News and Current Affairs.
Hello, welcome to Record in Focus. It's great to be back in the chair, and thanks to Jared Stackeroth, who's been filling in for me for the last couple of weeks. And Sybil, it's good to see you on the news desk again.
Thank you, Kent. It's good to have you back as well.
Oh, it's great to be here. Now, if you've got a bit attached to Jared over the last couple of weeks, I know I am, you'll be happy to know that he will be a part of InFocus this week. He'll be chatting with Corrine Whelan about her new children's book, which is aimed at helping kids prevent themselves from being victims of abuse or harassment.
And if you're missing Danielle, she's on today's programme as well, with Dr. James Wright talking about e-cigarettes, and also on Family in Focus segment with Trafford Fisher. They're talking about things we regret not doing.
OK, oh, that should be interesting. It's a cast of thousands. It's every man and his dog on this week. And it's all coming up after the news with Sybil.
Thanks, Kent. It is believed as many as 26 Egyptian-born Christians have been kidnapped by extremist groups in Libya. Advocacy organisations are concerned that the victims may face enslavement, torture or execution. According to International Christian Concern, one of the radical groups which has kidnapped 21 of the hostages identifies itself as the Libyan arm of the so-called Islamic State militia. In public statements, the group has described its hostages as Christian crusaders, highlighting the religious motivations behind the abductions. International Christian Concern wants support for a petition asking the Egyptian government to move immediately to rescue its citizens. From the 1st of January this year, tobacco packaging in the Pacific Island nation of Solomon Islands is required by law to display large graphic health warnings. According to the ABC, the Australian-style regulations are considered to be the toughest among the South Pacific. The change hasn't come without a struggle. The nation's leaders have been debating and negotiating the issue since 2007, with tobacco manufacturers being accused of interfering in the process.
This is great to see that we have eventually been able to come to this level, to this stage, and we hope that this won't be just something that happens in the Solomons, but it can be something that can happen right across the South Pacific, because cigarette smoking rates in the Pacific are some of the highest in the world.
An international team of Adventist television professionals has gathered in Papua New Guinea with the ambitious goal of producing more than 300 episodes of TV in a month.
In every family, the arrival of a new baby is met with joy and happiness. We welcome Hope Channel to Papua New Guinea and encourage you to pray and be part of Mega Project Hope.
The international team from Hope Channel studios around the world is working together with local talent, training and mentoring so that production can continue into the future.
Hope Channel has placed a high priority on the importance of contextualizing our message, of preparing TV programs for the local people.
Hope Channel is already available in parts of PNG via pay TV. Negotiations are currently underway to begin broadcasting free-to-air within the next year or two. After the Church of England voted to allow women bishops last November, it has moved quickly to consecrate the Right Reverend Liberty Lane as Bishop of Stockport. According to the BBC, the Church of England has allowed women to be priests for 2 decades, but opening up more senior roles has been a struggle. During the consecration ceremony in York, one priest shouted, "Not in the Bible," in protest. But there was lengthy applause from the crowd of around 1,000 at the conclusion of the dedicatory prayer. After moves to re-establish diplomatic relations between the United States and Cuba, the Caribbean nation has now approved the building of the first Roman Catholic church building since the 1959 Communist Revolution. Historically, Catholics have been viewed suspiciously by the officially atheist government as being sympathetic to the pre-revolutionary Batista regime. But, according to CNN, relations have been gradually improving, with Popes John Paul II and Francis both playing a role. The planned church building is being built with the financial assistance of Cubans living in Tampa, Florida. Adventists in New York have organised a church service focusing on hope and healing after a series of fatal encounters between police and members of the African American community last year. According to Adventist News Network, the church service, which involved government and police representatives, upheld the example of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., someone who dealt with difficult racial issues with Christian love and outspoken non-violence. The church leaders said New Yorkers are being faced with a false choice between supporting community rights or supporting the police. They argued that Americans should advocate for both. After years of delays, 2015 is likely to see publishing of research on what may be the oldest existing fragment of any of the four Gospels. According to Life Science, the fragment of the Gospel of Mark is among hundreds of papyrus pieces used by ancient Egyptians to make papier-mâché masks placed over the faces of mummies. Researchers are so far keeping mum about the exact words written on the papyrus fragment, and even before their results have been published, there has been controversy about the dating methods used. The fragment of the Gospel of Mark may date back to before the year AD 90. As an uneducated shepherd boy in rural Ethiopia, Adu Werku could never have dreamt that he would one day be attending the opening ceremony of a high school named in his honour. Werku, who is now library director of an Adventist college in the United States, received a hero's welcome in his native land, as 6,000 people gathered for the two-day dedication of the multi-building Werku Memorial Academy. Blinded in one eye as a boy, Werku travelled to a distant hospital for treatment, where he saw a school and fell in love with learning. He struggled to pay for his education until a Seventh-day Adventist missionary couple he met agreed to sponsor him. He's since earned 2 master's degrees and an honorary doctorate. Werku raised $600,000 American for the school, which will have its first graduation of students later this year. And speaking of generous donations, St. Vincent de Paul volunteers in Melbourne were shocked when they found a large amount of cash while they were sorting through donated clothes. According to the ABC, the undisclosed amount of money is a very large sum and was found in the pockets of 4 men's jackets. The Catholic charity wants to be sure that the money, which may represent someone's life savings, wasn't left in the jackets accidentally. They've asked the police to help with tracking down the possibly unwitting donor. And that's this week's news. Back to you, Kent.
Thanks, Sibel. Stay with us. Danielle will be back after the break with Dr. James Wright and Health in Focus.
Signs of the Times, a magazine for a world on the brink. And this month in Signs, can you believe in a God that science cannot prove exists? Eat like a caveman or quit sugar. We review the latest diet trends, 50 Shades of Grey. First the novel, now the movie. And we answer life's big question, why are we here? All in this month's Signs of the Times. Subscribe to Signs today and change your life.
Planning your future can be a daunting task. What you want to do, who you want to be, and the road ahead can often be unpredictable. No one really knows what the future holds. Avondale. It's education designed for life.
Well, if you thought you knew Doc Wright, I have some news for you and some dirt. Look what he's been into. Cigarettes.
You horrible person.
A little birdie told me that you were once a smoker. Tell me a little bit more. You can have those back because I don't like the things.
Thank you. Well, here's some cigarettes. And yesterday I was doing my daily walk. I looked in the gutters for a cigarette box, a shade to illustrate what we're going to talk about shortly. And cigarettes, of course. And would you believe it, someone had dumped this packet, half-used packet of cigarettes outside my surgery door. You
used to smoke cigarettes.
My brother and myself, when we were in, I think it was 3rd or 4th class, we saved up 6pence and bought a packet of 3.3s, the cheapest cigarettes available. And in one afternoon, my brother and myself, we both smoked 25 cigarettes between us.
Yuck.
And you know, we have never smoked since. Best money we ever invested. And we said, if that's smoking, never for us. He's never smoked, I've never smoked ever since. So that is quite ironical. And for something to drop this in front of my surgery, that's an absolute the insult of the day, isn't it?
It is, but you've got some good reason
I've got some good
for not
reason.
liking them.
Now, the British Medical Journal, yes, they're all pairs of underpants, I think. They put funny things on medical journals these days.
They do.
Today, they're now concentrating, well, as we know, smoking was 50% with fellows in Australia a few years ago. Now it's down to 13%.
Wow.
Women, it's moved from 20% down by only a couple of points.
Which
Women are
is
still
great.
fagging their heads off, which is disastrous. Now, that's the bad side of it. And, of course, as more Australians give up smoking, of course, more Chinese start smoking, which is another story altogether. They now have what they call the e-cigarette, which I'm quite sure you've all heard about, and most Western countries now have this. It looks like very much like an ordinary cigarette, and so the person thinks he's got a cigarette, and he puffs it away. The tip turns red as though it's a real cigarette, but before he puts it between his lips, he puts a little bit of liquid nicotine into it. So what he's really having is electronically vaporised nicotine, which is what gives you the kick of the cigarette, without the carcinogens.
Oh, okay.
Now, what the journal's saying, doctors are now using this to their advantage, and a study showed that they examined 4,000 guys who were smokers, and then they gradually started introducing these electronic cigarettes, and within 6 months, 1,000 of those guys had gone on to the electronic cigarettes, and then a few months later, they'd stopped smoking altogether.
Isn't it?
So it's funny how things happen. And 10 years ago, who would have thought of this? And the tobacco company's still making us money from selling the e-cigarette plus the nicotine, and at least a quarter give up smoking. So that's the latest. So if you're a smoker, not a bad idea. Talk to your doctor and go and buy an e-cigarette. And for a while, then 25% will give up smoking. So this report in the BMJ says.
That's good. And
they
of course,
check 4,000 guys.
Counselling and patches are also a good way to do it with some good
don't need all
support.
that. No. Love you all. Have a great week. We'll be back later on.
Hang about and we'll see you after the break.
The media targets our girls with destructive messages. But is there an alternative? Yes, it's Gigi. Gigi is a great new magazine for teenage girls that uplifts good Christian values. Finally, a way to pass on our values in a way the teenage girls in our life will love. So give a subscription to a teenage girl you love today. Visit gigimagazine.com.au. That's gigimagazine.com.au.
Well, today we've got Traff Fisher back with us in the studio. How are you going, Traff?
I'm going well. Thank you, Danny.
Fantastic. Now, today we're talking about things that you will regret not doing.
Yes, yeah.
How big's the list? Boy.
Yeah, look, there's lots of things I regret doing, serious. But there's a few things I regret not doing. Some things that I've failed to do.
And
there was a neat article I came across the other day talking about what are some things you might regret not doing in a relationship, in a marriage or in a relationship. And the first one was failing to turn off the electrical or digital stuff when you're together. Yeah. So, look, my wife and I, we fail a bit of this because generally tea time is news time. We watch the news and we eat together. And I think I should turn this off and talk, but I'll just watch this now.
That's right.
And I think there's a sense of, look, turn it off and, and chill out and spend some time. Now, look, there are times when you do digital stuff together, doing the mobile. But seriously, there's so much stuff coming out now about, the digital world we live in and the impact of iPhones, iPads on relationships. And they are finding we are breeding a generation of lonely people. Which is, you think, we've got Twitter, Facebook, we're all going to be connected. The very opposite is. So that's kind of interesting. So we need to remember that.
Connecting in the sense, no Skyping across the lounge room. Okay,
no
next
Skype
one.
across the lounge room. Number 2, compliment your partner every day. Now, here's the thing. Women thrive on communication, men thrive on affirmation. So you tell your husband, you say, wow, look at I love the way you do the lawn. Yeah, that's wonderful.
Beautiful tie, Traff.
No, tell him he does a great job of the lawn. He'll be out there at night with a torch mowing the lawn. Now, look, us guys thrive on on affirmation. I think we need to affirm each other and say, hey, look, I love the way you do this, I love the way you do that. And I think the next one is do that particularly in front of others. Right? So if I'm standing around with a group of my mates and my wife comes, it's easy for me to say, brace yourself, man, here comes a second mortgage, you know. Oh. If we can say, have you met the princess? You know, have you met my number one? Yeah, you know. Yeah. So I think that idea of praising our partner, because often we can be tempted to put them down. Yeah. Some bit of a joke. We may, oh, yeah, well, my wife's not much of a cook, but, you know, I survived. Oh. Yeah.
No, the princess stuff's always chicken soup for the soul for a woman.
Exactly.
What else?
I think another one is they suggested, and I think rightfully so, we need to repair conflict earlier.
Wow, great one.
Yeah. So, yeah, the temptation is sometimes to hang on to a little bit of that pain. No, I'm just going to carry this a bit longer, you know, add a bit more punishment. You know? And I think the idea is if we will regret not doing something about conflict, finishing it earlier.
Yeah.
I think the last one was carving out time alone on a regular basis. Now, I found that wording fascinating. Carve out time. Yeah. It sounds like something we've actually got to make time. We've actually got to do it. Someone said a statement. Time is like money. Tell your money where to go, don't ask it where it's gone. And I think it's the same with time. Tell your time where to go. Where's time gone? We're in charge of it. Yeah. So carve it out, say this is our time, nothing's going to cut in on that. And I think we'll regret not doing that.
Well, that's a reality, isn't it, Traff? As far as time, we don't know how much we've got, and when our time's up, our time's up.
Of time.
And that's when the regrets are there, aren't they?
Yep.
Well, great to have you with us again, Traff. We always love your insights.
Appreciate it.
Lovely tie. Matches your eyes.
Thank you. I'm feeling good.
Fantastic.
Thanks, Danny.
Stay with us. We'll be right back after the break.
Discover some of these artists from Salton Music. Anna Weatherup.
Oh, people get ready for the train to join.
Castles in Air.
Like watchmen wait for the morning light.
Eric and Monique.
You alone are my strength, my refuge.
Sapphire.
His love reached the bottom of the ocean.
No matter what shade of musical taste you have, you might just find something that sings to you. It's all waiting to be discovered at saltonmusic.com. Fresh and exciting original Christian music from Salton Music.
Welcome back. I'm joined here by Corrine Whelan, and Corrine, you've written a very important book. It's called Stop, I Don't Like That. Tell us a little bit about this book.
As a child, I was sexually abused, so after I got through the suicidal stage, I felt God speak to me and say, you know, develop some material, help stop the other kids going through what I went through. And I had the opportunity when I was studying nursing to develop a community education package.
Yep.
And I had the privilege of trialling that out in a Seventh-day Adventist school. This is over 20 years ago.
Yes, yep.
And that went really, really well. So I tried contacting publishing companies and stuff, but it was a subject that just wasn't talked about way back then. So it got shelved for a while. I can remember having a chat with God and saying, hey, if you really want me to do this, you've got to provide a publishing solution. So I didn't have any finances to put into it. So I was sitting down on my bed and I had the great big yellow phone book out and talked to God about it and said, right, I need a solution. And opened up the book and they had a publishing company called Publishing Solutions.
There you go, the solution.
Yeah, absolutely. So I rang them up. They took me under their wing. It was great. They had a look at the original package and thought that was brilliant. But what I wasn't expecting was for it to turn a completely different way and come out with a little book for really young children, because there was just, I could not find a resource at all for 3 to 5, 6, 4-year-old children.
And this book is for 3 to 6-year-olds, is that right?
That's
so that's
correct.
Quite young to be talking about some of this heavy sort of stuff.
Yes, but it's designed in a way that it's not frightening to the children. It's to equip them. Now, I've got one of the very last copies of the original book.
Okay, yeah.
Which was, we had 1,000 of these printed for free. They had people that donated different things. So it's gone right around the world, and we've had some great feedback. And now as Safe Place Services has developed, they've become interested in being more proactive and helping prevent abuse and things like that.
Just for the viewers that may not know, Safe Place Services, what is that?
That's an organisation in the Seventh-day Adventist Church, and it helps deal with different forms of abuse that people may have experienced. So giving them resources, supporting them through if they go through the courts and speaking to the police, that sort of thing. But they're also about making churches a safer environment.
Yes.
So educating the parents how to support their kids, educating teachers, making sure everyone's got their police check, things like that. So overall, our church is a safer environment.
And that, of course, is a very important thing that's getting a lot of attention right now with the whole Royal Commission in Australia for sexual abuse of children. But this book, I was flicking through before, and it's not just about sexual abuse, is it?
No.
There's like bullying situations, stranger danger sort of situations, any sort of situation where a child may feel uncomfortable.
That's right.
And that's what this was designed for, to help children when they feel uncomfortable. Do you have any, have you had any feedback? Is it working?
It is. And I can remember when I was, we were working on the second book because we wanted to get the pictures and graphics and stuff more updated. And Kylie, she's done a brilliant job with updating the photos. So thanks, Kylie, if you're watching. I can remember I was in a bank one day and there was a little one behind me and her mum, and I gave a copy of the book. I just felt impressed to give a copy of the book to the little one. She would have been about 4, and straight away she just laid down on the back floor and started reading the book. And her mum said, "Thank you so much," because she actually had behaviours that was giving her older sisters grief, and they were able to use that to help her realise what she was doing wasn't making her older siblings feel safe around her. So that's awesome.
And it's a simple concept, isn't it? Stop, I don't like that. It's a simple phrase, sort of something that we don't always say, but it's like it gives the children some way to interact with something that they are uncomfortable with.
But it goes on further and encourages them to speak to adults they trust and ask for help to feel safe again.
Okay, so you've got a background in counselling and nursing and that sort of thing. So behind the simple sort of stories in the book, these are situations that the children find themselves in. There's actually like a process, isn't there? There's points that children can follow that comes through in the story, but it's sort of points for the children to follow. What are some of those points? So just give it to us for those who haven't read the book. How do children deal with situations like that?
Basically, it's giving them a voice so they can say, "Stop, I don't like that." And there's activities in the front of the book to help practice. Saying that. So in the actual front of the book, there's a couple of activities that they can do there. And it goes beyond that in encouraging them to identify they're not feeling safe, or they see something happen in the playground, for instance, and they don't like what they've seen. So they can say, "Stop, I don't like that," to whatever situation it is, and then tell a teacher or a parent or some other trusted friend, adult friend, and ask them for support and help to feel safe again. It's a basic message.
It's a very practical book, though, isn't it? It's not just a story for the sake of
That's right. And it's designed in a way so it's not scary for the children. and written in such a simple, repetitive language, it makes it easier for the children to remember.
So what's next? You've got this book out. Can people get a hold of it? Our viewers, can they access this material?
Yes, they can access it simply by contacting their local Adventist book centre.
Okay.
And they're working on distributing it further afield, which is brilliant. They're also working on a e-book and an app, so I'm really looking forward to seeing how
Excellent. So there
that
are
comes
other
out.
resources being developed. That's fantastic.
And we've also got other books in the pipeline. We're just waiting for finance so we can actually get them printed
Similar
and designed.
sort of topics or practical
Yes,
sort of, yeah?
but for older children.
So for different age groups.
Yes, so
Fantastic.
making it appropriate for them as well and building on these foundational skills.
Why is it so important to give these sort of messages, these sort of tools to our children?
There's so much abuse and bullying and just simple situations where kids don't feel comfortable, be it a sloppy kiss from grandma or a hug that's too tight from grandpa, and giving them the permission to say, hey, I don't like that, stop, please stop, I don't like that, and having that respected builds the vocabulary and the esteem and stuff that they can talk about the harder issues that they're not too sure what to do about.
Giving our children a voice.
Exactly.
Well, thank you for your time, Kareen, and we'll be back right after this break.
Thank you.
Who is Jesus? A 6-part exploration of the life and the teachings of Jesus Christ. In this series, we'll look at how Jesus helps us understand issues facing us today, such as pain and healing, how we treat each other, worry-free living, fear of the future, and the kingdom of God. That's our quest, to come eye to eye, if you will, with Jesus, the real Jesus.
Every week, It Is Written is available to millions of free-to-air viewers throughout Australia, New Zealand, New Guinea and the Pacific. It Is Written's Gary Kent regularly takes viewers to the far corners of the globe to report on new evidence and discoveries that confirm the Bible and Christian beliefs. It Is Written also provides medical care to remote Pacific Island communities. Join Gary Kent each week for It Is Written. See television guides and the It Is Written website for broadcast times. It Is Written with Gary Kent. It really is television that changes lives.
Hello, welcome back, and thanks for your company this week.
I think we should be welcoming you back, Kemp, this week. You've been gone a little
Thanks.
while.
I have, yeah. I've been in Papua New Guinea. I was involved in an awesome television project that's happening there. I think you probably mentioned it in the news earlier.
Ah, yes, that's the mega project Hope PNG.
Yep.
More than 300 TV episodes in a month.
Yeah, it is very ambitious. But I met a lot of great people there from at least 15 countries, I think.
Wow, it sounds like a really great project.
Yeah, it is. And the heads of Hope Channel International, because it's a Hope Channel project, it's one of our broadcasters. Very happy to be part of Hope Channel. Brad and Candace Thorpe will be around in our studios next week, so I'm hoping to get one or maybe even both of them in the interview space and interview segment in our show. So yeah, it should be good.
That sounds like something to look forward to.
I think so.
Thanks for your company this week. God bless and goodbye.
See ya.